Hi all. Today we will continue with the discussion on idealism. So in the last session we have discussed on various basic aspects of idealism. And in this presentation we will see the axiological, metaphysical and epistemological aspects of idealism and how these influence aims, curriculum and methods of teaching. So the axiological aspects. You know what is axiology? We have a discussion already. So they believed in, or according to idealism, the highest of all are absolute values. So their perception, their concept, the supreme position is given to absolute values. The values which are all pervading, everlasting, unchangeable. So such values such as truth, beauty, goodness, etc. So the belief of idealism, so their value set of idealism, they believed in such kind of that ideal values. We in the last session we tried to distinguish between idea and ideal. So it's the best out of the best. So such kind of belief they are having regarding values. So they believed in the ultimate or absolute values. Then there are other concept, other value regarding the some. We already seen that there are different forms of idealism, and some such group believe ultimate as God or spirit or mind. So some form of some group of idealism, some believe that God is supreme. God is the absolute, and for spiritualist, it's spirit, and for others who gave more emphasis on idea, they believed that mind is supreme. So God or spirit or mind. So these things are highly valuable for human beings. So that's the perception of idealism regarding axiology, their values. Then you know that the values determine aims of education. So as they believe in absolute values or God or spirit or mind. So if it is God or spirit or mind, whatever it is, the aim of education shall be self-realization of human personality. Whether we want to reach up to God or we want to develop spiritually or to develop our mind, the ultimate aim of education. So that's the ultimate aim of education according to idealism, is that self-realization of human personality. Self-realization, realizing the self. The answer to the question, who am I? And what's my role in this life? What are my duties? What is my position? So there are hundreds of such questions. So we have to answer all these to reach up to that self-realization. So it's the ultimate aim. No further aims beyond that. So idealism having an ultimate aim of education self-realization. And naturally there are subsequent aims, because it's not easy to attain the aim of self-realization. So there are so many other aims also, such as ensure spiritual development of the learner. That's another aim, because only when the learner having some extent of spiritual development, she or he is able to realize themselves. Then preservation, transformation, and transmission of culture. Preservation of culture, transformation of culture, and its transmission. So that's another aim of education. We have to preserve something, or the human life or humankind or culture or society which implies something as fixed, which cannot be changed. So those things are preserved as such without further uh, modification. Then some other elements need to be transformed according to various reasons, and whether it is preserved as such or whether the elements are transformed, all these things shall be transmitted to next generation. So that's another function or another aim of education. So this transmission of culture to forthcoming generations. Then development of inborn nature to spiritual nature. That's another aim, because the perception is that we are at the time of birth. Our nature is so uh, raw material. We are all are raw material. We are not spiritual being. So develop each individual into spiritual being. That shall be an aim of education. Then development of intelligence and rationality. So that is essential, because we have an ultimate aim, self-realization. In order to attain self-realization, first we have to develop our intelligence, rationality, power of reasoning. We have to make ourselves spiritually developed, and we have to acquire culture. We have to transform that culture, and then only finally we can attain that state of self-realization. Then the metaphysical aspects, the reality, concept of reality. According to idealism, mind is real, not matter. So the strong point of view of idealism. But in spiritualism, it is spirituality or God or religion. But when we are speaking generally for idealism, mind is real, not matter. Feelings, thoughts, emotions, and values originated from mind. So all these things, that feelings, thoughts, emotions, values, all these things are originated in our mind. So that's their concept of reality. So mind is real. So the metaphysics influence curriculum in education. So what all things shall be incorporated in curriculum? What subjects we need to study to go hand in hand with this reality? Here mind is real, and we have to attain self-realization. So the curriculum should be to develop, or curriculum enable, physical, moral, intellectual, aesthetic and religious development of the learner. In short, all-round development. Physical, moral, intellectual, aesthetic and religious. So a curriculum of that kind is essential, because we need to attain self-realization. We need to develop our mind, because mind is supreme. So physical development should be there. Physical activities are essential to control our, or to develop our physique. Then morality, cognitive abilities, appreciation, then religious rituals, culture. So all these should be a curriculum according to idealism shall be of this kind. It should be able to develop these and these capacities in children. So the idealist curriculum is generally consist of humanities subjects, and the materials for study such as epics, classics, philosophy, logic and mathematics. So mathematics was there from the time immemorial, because we can see that mathematics, not much theoretical mathematics, but applied mathematics, mathematics in daily life. So those epics, classics are the available text or in oral form. So those are the main study materials. Then philosophy and logic. Logic as a tool for analysis, analyzing everything or studying everything. So that's about the curriculum according to idealism. Then the epistemological aspects. We have already covered axiological and metaphysical aspects, the aims of education and curriculum. Then regarding epistemological aspects, epistemology deals with or studies knowledge, types of knowledge and how to acquire knowledge. And the epistemology of axiology, or the concept of knowledge according to axiology. They believed in rationality, reasoning. Reasoning can be done by individuals, by individual effort. If we want to reason out, we have to study in depth. We have to analyze things in depth, in detail. Then only we can rationalize. So rationality, rational knowledge, knowledge acquired through reasoning. Then knowledge gained from authority. So they believed in the two main types of knowledge, such as rationality, rational knowledge, and authoritative knowledge. So the epistemology influences method of teaching. So here, according to idealism, the methods are generally oral methods, because no such audiovisual aids, the concept of such multimedia learning, which are not there. But learning by self, now what we are doing? You are learning by self, not by the pressure of your teachers, not sitting in your classrooms now. You are sitting, or you are standing, or you are walking, or you are cooking. In the meantime, you are learning something. It's self-learning. So the method of teaching, the methods are generally oral. Not at all methods of teaching at that time. Later on, it developed as teaching. And at that time also, it was not teaching, but learning. The learning from the demand of the learner. And the methods are generally oral. And the most prominent method, or the famous method, Socratic method, we misinterpreted it as question answer method. It is not the real question answer method. It is question to question method. A teacher does not answer to the question of the learner. Instead, help the learner by asking another question, a question for clarifying learners themselves. Say question to question, not a question to answer. It is very easy. Teacher can ask question, students can write or say answer. It is not like that. Students ask questions and teacher is not give away answers. Instead, teacher pose other questions which help them to learn better. So that kind of a method is Socratic method. And it was originally founded by Socrates. That's why Socratic method. Then narration. You know what is narration? Narrating a story, narrating an incident. It's a very beautiful piece of description. The people will have the power of narration, will be a great orator, speakers. They can attract large crowds. So narration as a method, it's also an oral method. Discussion, debate, not the kind of debates that we are watching through our television. Debate is something different. We have no scope to discuss about debate here. But these are some general methods. Socratic method, narration, discussion, debate, etc. were the methods of teaching followed by idealists. And the teacher is supreme. That's why even now the position of teacher is considered as something elite. And we are waiting for teacher to come into our class and to teach us something, because the root is from this idealism. Teacher is supreme. Teacher shall be a master in the art of living. What is meant by art of living? It is not the art of living program, because the life of the teacher shall be an open book for the learner to learn his own or her own life. So that's why how a teacher living, it should be an open book for the learners. That is what we heard about in Gurukula system. In Gurukula system, Shishya went to the house of Guru and experienced a realms of life of their Guru. Here also, the teacher shall be a master in the art of living, and the life of teacher shall be the textbook for learners. And thus teacher as an impressionist teacher. Teacher shall be able to create an impression in the mind of the children. And there shall be a great rapport between teacher and taught. That link between, that emotional connection, a 24-carat friendship between teacher and taught. And teacher always encourage students to ask questions, encourage them for clarification. In simple terms, teachers are approachable. That's a very, very significant aspect. Teacher is approachable. Fear is not required to raise question. But nowadays it is difficult to ask questions to teachers. So we have to ask ourselves about how far we are accessible to, or how far we are approachable to our students. How we react, how we respond to their questions and queries. So that's the difference. A teacher shall be an ideal teacher or an idealist teacher. Always encourage students and support them when required. So the expectations of a teacher according to idealism is very, very high. Teacher should be an excellent personality. Teacher should always love students, concern for students, consideration for students, supportive, encouraging. As we nowadays we are using the term mentoring. That term is taken from the past. So that's the teacher. Teacher should be an idealist first. That's the precondition. In an idealism, if a teacher want to practice idealism, teacher shall be an idealist. So in this presentation, we discussed the axiology, metaphysics, and epistemology of idealism. That's aims, curriculum, and methods of teaching, as well as teacher. And a link for additional reading if required. So that's the end of this presentation. Thanks for watching. Thank you all.